Scandinavian Northern Europe DLC is officially confirmed. 1.34 patch, free patch, and the DLC that will be combined with it will be having tons of the new content. Some of us already knew that it's gonna be Scandinavia last week when they did this tip in one of the pictures at the end of the dev diary, but today it is official. So what can we expect out of this DLC? First of all, they see that we love branching missions. What does it mean? That when we're having a mission tree, we have a few paths to choose, like for example we have for the different religions in Africa. So now this DLC will focus on that even more. So let's say we have a country that have a few different paths to follow, and each path will be having its own mission tree. Gaining development from buildings was an interesting experiment, although it was not overpowered as many players have claimed. I see what you did there. Its snowball effect is definitely not something we continue with. I disagree. It is powerful, if you know how to use it. Special units were one hell of a problem challenge to balance right. I agree, but also special units are giving us huge potential to play around, especially if we gave them more modding possibilities. The Mali experience is probably the most polarizing one of EU4, so tons of the disasters just attacking you from all the sides. Well, that's what the game should be about, a challenge, not just a free game, right? So they are gonna try doing more of it in the new DLC around the Baltics and the Northern Europe, and I love it. Challenge is always fun. Just as they mentioned over here, it will be less focused on tons of the rebels and more on an actual challenge around the game. They see that we love the new Easter privileges, especially those that are free part of the game, so there will be more of them coming in the next patch. Well, that's just a summary of what we can expect from the DLC, but we have tons of the content already mentioned in this dev diary, and this dev diary is gonna be focused on Teutonic Order. If you want to get notified about the future videos, remember to subscribe to this channel, especially that we are on our way to hit 100,000 subscribers, while at the same time you can see that only 45% of you are subscribing right now. First things first, Teutonic Order mission tree by itself is just 6 basic missions that is around surviving, taking care of Poland. The event chain of Prussian Confederation was moved to a disaster, which I think should make it far clearer for players to understand and follow. But it doesn't mean that they have just 6 missions, right? It means that later they can unlock far more missions by taking different branches that I already mentioned earlier. In the past, one of the major strategies for Teutonic Order was to go improve relations with Austria and join the HRE. Well, right now we will be able to do that from the mission tree and the events. In general, we can ask Austria to join the Holy Roman Empire, and Austria will get this kind of the event, where they can just allow us to join the HRE, they can just refuse, or they can allow us to join the HRE, but we won't be able to do any offensive force inside Germany. That's a big cost of joining the HRE, but I think it's gonna make it even more fun, and from what they mentioned, that's the option that AI will take in majority of the places. Later, the missions might actually allow us to go and conquer Germany. After we do the mission which is called Defeat Poland, so it means we just conquer 4 provinces of them, we will have the first decision to make. And this decision is called the Future of Teutonic Order. It will allow us to unlock one of the 2 mission paths, either a Prussian one or Crusader one. Prussian one is theoretically a historical one, but as they mentioned in this dev diary, of course you cannot really go to historical Teutonic Order because it will not end up too well for you. So most of the mission trees, what if? And the Prussian one is about switching to Protestant or Reformed, forming Prussia and going the Prussian way. This is how the Prussian mission tree is looking like. So all of these missions, tons of the content. This is for the branch of the Defeat Poland, but also the Order and the Empire have another 3 branches of the missions, so not only 2 branches over here, Prussian Crusader, but also another 3 on the left. Enormous amount of the choices of how we want to play Teutonic Order, and I think that's the perfect usage of the mission tree in EU4. This is how it should work. We give many options to the players how they want to play, not just the one path that they have got to go through. And the Order Empire is unlocking us the 3 paths as mentioned. First of them is the Holy Roman Diplomacy path. We're gonna go and become the Holy Roman Elector and Emperor, and finally form the Holy Roman Empire. Second one is the German Conquest, which is obviously conquering Germany and uniting it. While the third one is the Prussian Kingdom path, which is about conquering the Commonwealth terrains and going east. Each of the paths, besides really cool missions, are also having new government forms for you. For example, the Holy Roman Diplomacy is allowing you to form Prussia as a Catholic nation that is actually a theocracy. Because besides, of course, obvious missions where you just conquer lands, etc., blah blah blah, boring, there's fun stuff as well. First of all, you can unlock the estate privileges, which can either give you a strong missionary strength against the heretics to convert all of these Orthodox lands, or you can have a Grand Orthodox Autonomy, which works very similar to the Demi, where you cannot convert the provinces, but also you don't have any negative modifiers over there. Then there's a mission that is giving you fortified borders, which means that you can build the forts with minus 90% maintenance cost. So you have pretty much forts that cost you absolutely nothing to maintain. You probably noticed we still did not cover the Crusade mission path that was mentioned at the beginning. And I think the Crusader mission path is the most glorious among all of them. First of all, it's mostly about expanding east into Russia and the Hordes. Now then, you can for example form a Crusader Order. And the Crusader Order is getting a missionary strength, discipline, army tradition from battles, and Grand Crusader name for your ruler. Then what is this mentioning? If you go east and you face the Hordes, you need to use the cavalry. And when you use the cavalry, you are getting more bonuses to it. So there's a mission that is giving you a modifier to your cav until the end of the game, that is cav combat ability, yearly army tradition, cav flanking ability, movement speed, and cav to inf ratio 50%, which means you can pretty much play cav only. Yes, cav only gameplay. You can also get a government form which is called Holy Horde. Yes, a Holy Horde. You hear me right. The Holy Horde is allowing you to raise the provinces, but obviously you cannot raise provinces of your own religion, so only heathens and heretics, still super strong. You're getting the missionaries, missionary strength, land force limit, looting speed, movement speed, 20% movement speed. This is broken. Cav to inf ratio and manpower in the true provinces. Perfect for the roleplay of the Catholic Crusader state. Finally, at the end of Dev Diary, and they plan to do it at the end of each Dev Diary, are some notes about 3 changes in the patch. And here you have hints about changes to the other Reformed religions, so Reformed, Protestant and Anglican. First of all, they're talking about Anglican. So I would say Anglican was interesting religion, but wasn't really broken. You can see it on my multiplayer campaign when I went Ireland into Great Britain. What they're applying is to give you more choices on how to play it. Instead of just 4 or 5 choices, you can see there are fairly amount of the new choices. So for example, you can increase amount of your crown land by the decision. Or when you're marrying a new consort, you're also getting a chance of the new heir. Or when you're divorcing a consort, you're getting power points for each lacking point for the consort to be 666, and for each point it's 12 points. So if it was 000, that's tons of mana you can get. If the consort was 666, you're getting absolutely enough. For other stuff, you can get more innovativeness and reform progress gain. Very useful. You can get unpopulation in the colony. You can get better relations with Protestant, Reformed and Anglican countries. And finally, for 200 points you can get a bonus to the military. We waited so long for Anglican to have anything for the military. So it's gonna be morale of armies 10% and reduced shock damage minus 10%. Very useful, but only for 15 years. So might be useful to save it for an actual war coming. This is it. Next week we can expect a Dev Diary focus on Protestant and Reformed changes, and most importantly, Livonian Order. I'm really curious how they are gonna make it work, but I can already trust them. That's gonna be super fun, because this Teutonic Order mission for new players is gonna be super complicated, but once you know how to do it, and we need to make a guide on that, it's pure fun. And that's how pure fun EU4, and that's how the mission tree should look like. So guys, this is all for today. If you enjoyed this type of videos when I'm explaining the Dev Diary for you, remember to leave a like on this video and let me know in comments what is your favorite change that is coming for the Teutonic Order or any other aspect discussed today, and of course subscribe to the channel to get notified about the future content. Bye!